If you can please keep yourself muted until we go through the bargaining update and mobilizing update, then we'll take questions at the end. And I'll ask you to unmute yourself if you have a question. So I will hand it over to Debbie Hayes, our area director, to give an update on bargaining.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for hopping on the call. We really have a brief bargaining update tonight as the progress since our call last Tuesday has been slow. I think we gave the hospital a package proposal either Tuesday or Wednesday, and we heard back from them late in the day on Friday. So, and the packages that were exchanged really did not include a lot of movement. And so the issues that we talked to you about last week and in the side by side update that we did are still relevant. The hospital did come up slightly in their economic proposal, and we went down slightly, but not enough where I would consider anything to be a significant movement. As of today, even though we've reached approximately 200 tentative agreements, we still have 76 open items, and that should give you a feel for the amount of work that we have in front of us. Today, in bargaining, we spent some time in sidebar meetings with the folks from Catholic Health. And what we're really trying to do is see if we can break the log jam that we have in place on time and attendance, on PTO, and then on items like call-in pay, on-call pay, and cafeteria discounts, which are all items that are still open. Sometimes the away from the table discussions, or what we call sidebar discussions, are helpful in getting both sides to talk a little bit more freely and openly off the record. And the mediator is really working the union and the employer to see what he can do to help break up the log jam in negotiations. So we did a sidebar around 2 o'clock, and then the hospital had a few more questions for us around 4:30. So we went down and spent about an hour with them answering questions. So we should know more tomorrow morning about where we are with some of these open issues. We are going to talk about a couple other things tonight. The first thing is we did extend the contract through Saturday, September 13th. So there is an extension of the contract in place. As you know, when the contract is extended, all issues that are covered by the collective bargaining agreement remain intact. So there's no changes right now under anybody's wages, benefits, or working conditions. We are hopeful, and we did the extension through September 13th because we are very hopeful that we will be done by them if we can get some movement across the table. We did a press conference today at 11:30 outside in front of Mercy, and we had a very nice crowd of people out there, including the bargaining committee, mobilizers, folks that came from inside the hospital, and then support from other unions as well. So for calling of a quick press conference, we were really pleased with the results. The event was widely covered by the press. And so I believe that it accomplished what we needed it to do, which is to take the fact that after 6 months that we still don't have a contract, put it out to the community, and to also let people know that we were planning on a strike vote for Monday, September 8th. So we did get very good press coverage related to the press conference. We do have the strike vote scheduled for next Monday, and we are not going to bargain on Monday, except for a small group that will finally be able to sit down and work on proposals for the Kenmore Service and Clerical Unit. We did receive today the information on the new unit that we have been waiting for. So Monday, while some of us are at the strike vote and to help answer questions there, we will have a smaller group of people back at bargaining, working on getting proposals together for the Kenmore Service and Clerical bargaining unit. Once we get through the strike vote, we're really hoping that will put enough pressure on Catholic Health so that we can get an agreement. So that's what I have as a bargaining report. After Teresa does her report on mobilizing, we will be more than happy to answer whatever questions folks have.
Great, thanks, Debbie. So as Debbie mentioned, we do have our strike vote on the 8th, which is next Monday, from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's at the Knights of Columbus on South Legion. And it's for Mercy and all of the offsites. So for Mercy folks, all of you should be getting contacted, whether it's in a face-to-face conversation or a phone call. We have talked to almost 60% of you at this point. So if no one has reached you yet, don't worry. We are continuing with our phone banking and rounding throughout this week to answer your questions. As for logistics on the day of the vote, we are providing transportation. You should get an email tomorrow with a Google link where you can sign up if you need transportation, where you need transportation from, whether that's from Mercy because you have to park in Timbuktu to get your car, or if it's from your house, or if it's from an offsite. We will be providing transportation all day for you all, so please look for that email. I believe a text is going out as well, and it will be posted on Facebook, but just sign up on the Google form if you need transportation for that day. I think that's everything in terms of mobilizing. So with that, we can open it up to questions. If you are on Zoom, you can simply unmute yourself. And if you're calling in by phone, press *6 to unmute.
I have a quick comment.
Sure.
You know what, like, I can see extending the contract a couple of times, you know, depending upon how bargaining's going. But, I mean, don't you think that every time we extend the contract, we should get something in return? And the very smallest thing I think we should be negotiating when we give them a contract extension is that we guarantee that we get paid retroactively. Like, we should say to them, listen, we're trying to bargain in good faith. And you know what? We'll extend the contract, but we want to make sure that we get paid retroactively. At the very least, every time we extend the contract, I think we should be getting something for that, for them contract extensions, because we're letting them off the hook. I mean, that's just my own personal feeling. I mean, at the very least, we should get them the TA on giving every employee their money from when the contract ended. At the very least, I think that's pretty reasonable, don't you? Instead of just extending it, I can see extending it a couple of times depending upon how bargaining's going, but just to keep letting them off the hook and not getting anything in return from them for buying them time is not a good idea. We're setting a bad precedent.
So members of the bargaining committee felt firmly that the contract should be extended as long as we're still at the bargaining table and we're working. We have a conversation every time the contract is due to expire to determine, what our next step would be. The decision to extend this contract was made because we just don't want to put any member at risk. If the contract expires, you lose the right to do grievance arbitration. And we didn't want to take the chance that any member would find themselves in a situation where they were suspended or terminated, and then we wouldn't have the right to arbitrate.
No, but wait a minute. I'm saying, tell them we're not going to extend it anymore and take a strike vote and go on strike. I'm not trying to put any member of the CWA at risk by doing that. That's all I want to do is, put their feet to the fire a lot sooner. Like we keep extending. It seems like we're getting nowhere.
The extension is not preventing progress from being made. And if the contract isn't extended, there may be members at risk if anybody gets disciplined or terminated and we don't have the right to arbitrate the grievance.
No, but that wouldn't happen if we went on strike.
We can't just go on strike. We have to do the strike vote and then minimally.
Dana, come here now.
Minimally, we have to give a 10-day notice. And so there's a significant period of time when things could happen inside Mercy, and we just didn't want to take the chance. So there is no way that the hospital will agree to retroactive pay for the sake of getting an extension on the contract. At this point, it's mutually beneficial. It doesn't benefit one side more than the other. And we weigh the decision and take the decision very seriously before the contract is extended.
Okay. If anybody needs a ride, I can help out driving people to boat too.
Thank you. We really appreciate that because we know there are
Sure.
that need a lift.
I'm off, so I don't mind doing it all day if people need help.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns from folks on the call?
I would just like to make a comment. I know the last time we were on the call, you guys said that we weren't going to extend the contract or after August 31st. I just think for you guys that you should at least notify the members that what's going to happen during bargaining versus let us find out like afterwards. So I do kind of understand someone else's frustration regarding that.
Yeah, we extended the contract today. We did not extend it before we left Friday. We had a conversation about the decision to extend, and we did it today. And you're hearing it from us before you hear it from anybody else.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I just, it's kind of a statement rather than a question, but I just feel like we're going really soft on them. Like, I just feel like even last contract, we fought for, ratios. Everything was about ratios, safe staffing. We had a ton of people behind us because it was safe staffing. We didn't see any of those actually take place. And if it did, it was very far and few in between. And then their repercussions were going to be that they had to pay for every time that they didn't do that. And then from what I understand, they haven't paid a dime. So there was that. Then there was also the pensions. We kept playing nice with the pensions. They couldn't fund the pension. They couldn't fund the pension. We were talking to our lawyer. We were waiting. We weren't going to act on them because we were acting in good faith. Again, we let them slide. We let it go on and on and on. And yes, it was actually paid from my understanding. I mean, my pension's not great being here, I'm not going to lie, but it was actually paid to my understanding. But again, they had no fault in it. So I also understand the gentleman's, concerns as far as why do we, and I understand both sides. I totally understand as far as extending the contract so that people aren't penalized in between, but I just feel like we're taking it so soft on them. You read their proposals that they put back in the email and they're like, you know what, be happy. We gave you guys 7.5 over 4 years. That's 0.25 greater than last year. Yeah, well, that's kind of hard to take when Kaleida is getting 9% over 3 years. It just seems so contradictory. And I just feel like we go really soft on them. And I understand that there's a lot of things at place. People are worried about going out and not having money. And, there's a lot of people don't want to be out of a job. I've talked to a ton of people the last 2 weeks and they know nothing about strike pays. They know nothing about going out. So they're on the basis that they don't want to say that there's a strike vote. And we're trying to explain to them the best we can. That's really the only other bargaining tool we have right now, even if it's a bluff to say, hey, listen, we're not happy with what you're putting out. If we're not happy, we're going to go. I just feel like we've gone super soft on them. So where are the repercussions? When do we finally say, enough is enough? I understand we're trying to prevent a strike, but we've given them time and time and time again. When do we finally stand up and say this is enough? We just cut them slack everywhere we go, or at least that's what it seems like.
Yeah, I would not say that we are cutting them slack. We have worked very hard over this 6-month period, and we have a significant number of tenants to show for it. We are holding out strong hard for the items that we know are most important to people in Catholic Health. And we are definitely not cutting them slack. We've made movement, they've made movement, but at the end of the day, we know the items that are the most important to people, and we're fighting for that at the bargaining table. One of the things that has been incredibly helpful in making the union's case are the people that have come in and shown their support for the bargaining committee by giving testimonials. And the people that did the testimonials did a great job and spoke very fervently on behalf of their coworkers on issues like longevity pay, competitive wages, and staffing in some of the departments where it's not good, and the kind of risks that puts on patient lives. So the next step is, and we didn't do an informational picket. We're not doing the kind of things they expect from us. We went right to a strike vote, because that is the ultimate way for people to show Catholic Health what they're willing to do in order to get a contract. So they will listen to us at the bargaining table to a certain extent, but it's really the members that need to speak loud and clear in terms of what you're willing to do in order to get a fair agreement. So we are really hopeful that Monday's vote will be strong, that it sends a message that we are not just at the bargaining table representing the RNs, that we are representing all of our members, that all of our members deserve a fair agreement, and that we're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So, that's where we are in terms of negotiations and the pressure that we are trying to put on Catholic Health.
I have a
I've been
question.
on a lot of these phone calls, and I know that they talked about last time as far as putting out a sheet with, what to expect if we did. Considering we have a vote coming up, none of that has gone out yet, and there's a lot of people very deterred without having an informational picket, without having that sheet out. I know that people have said that they've been contacted about whether they would go on strike or not, but there's a ton of people with no information, which it makes you wonder if we're going to get the vote. So I'm hopeful, because we do need to show that, we all stand strong, but those are things that would help solidify our vote. We don't have those at our disposal.
We put out a side-by-side document that compares the hospital at that time, what was the hospital's proposal and our proposal. We gave it wide distribution so that we know a lot of people will have the did have the opportunity to see it and read it, because we heard that from people who were on the call this morning. We do have a strike fact sheet and a frequently asked question sheet that we'll have available for people Monday when they come to vote. Again, we will be there to make sure that all questions get answered and everybody has all of the information that they need before they go in and vote.
I'm sorry, but you've been calling for a strike vote for over a week now. Why is that information not out already? People need to know this, not the day of. People aren't even going to show up to vote. Isn't the whole point is to actually have people come to vote? People need to know what they're getting into, for those of us who have been through a strike before. Because at any point after that, you can say in 10 days, we are going on strike, and therefore we are out of the job, and some of us cannot afford to be out of a job and getting no pay. And then after that, getting a little bit.
Yeah,
I just want to say I would have to agree with that, because I'm a new associate at Catholic Health. I asked my coworkers actually what to expect, because I have no clue, never been in a strike before, no information was set out. So I wasn't even going to go and vote until they told me what's going to happen, how we're getting paid, how a strike even works.
Yeah, we asked that weeks ago.
Yeah, the fact sheets are going to be available to vote. We did not want to put out too much information related to strikes, because we're also hearing from our mobilizers, from folks in the hospitals, that there's some anxiety around having to go out. So we were looking at taking the steps incrementally, and the first step would be to go through the strike vote. We'll have information available on that day. If anybody has specific questions related to a strike, everybody knows, just because I said it earlier, that we have to give a 10-day notice. So minimally, there will be a 10-day notice of a strike, and we will work diligently to make sure everybody has all the information they need before they go out. One of the
But
things,
that's what we were saying, yeah, even beforehand, so that you can get more people to vote yes, that they want to strike, so you have a better turnout, to have that information prior to, so that they're aware prior to making this decision whether they're saying yes they would or no they won't.
I have a question for you guys.
yes.
How much trouble is Catholic Health in? Because this will be the second contract year that we're in, that we're talking about going on even possible strike. When you got Kaleida, they went through 2 contracts. We set the prime example for them, and they haven't gone on strike. You don't see ECMC going on strike. You don't see Roswell. You don't see any major healthcare facility going on strike. For Catholic Health, this is going to be number 2. The last time we went on strike, it was 41 days. Now we have the mobilizers that we're sending out. We have half this hospital at Mercy that doesn't know what's going on. You know, there's not enough information going out. I mean, how much trouble is Catholic Health in? And my question is, are we going soft on Catholic Health because they are in so much financial trouble?
Oh my God.
Definitely not going soft on Catholic Health. And
Well, listen, all I can say is this, is that they take us as a joke because everything that we do, we're being held accountable for, but everything they're doing, they're not being held accountable for. And I just see
Yeah,
it
they
this
haven't
way.
paid anything. Yeah, they haven't paid anything for any of the guaranteed staffing ratios. They haven't paid a dime. So why would they staff us?
not up to
So this is Jen. I am the co-director for staffing. The staffing for state, the Department of Health has to come in to Mercy Hospital, to Kenmore, to St. Joe's, and speak with Catholic Health, and there has to be a correction of action that has to be done first to fix the staffing that Catholic Health has to send in. And then they have so many days to do that. And then if that's not done, then the fines start coming. So it's not like, okay, you're short and you get a fine. That's not
But
how
it's
it
a
works with the
4-year
state.
contract.
We are
But
trying
it's a 4-year
to,
contract.
right, the state has yet to show up for staffing once. They have not come to Mercy Hospital or Kenmore Mercy or St. Joe's for staffing once in the 4 years since we've gotten the language. So that's a state issue.
then-
We have spoken with
Can
the
they
state.
back
We
fine
have
them?
gone to all the. You can't back fine. We have the forms that we've been sending in for the last 4 years, so they do have all those forms. They did come 2 years ago, unannounced, but it wasn't for staffing per se, because we hadn't sent the forms in yet. They did speak with Catholic Health on some things, and there was discussion on how they had to fix some things, and I haven't heard that they've been back since. So it's not that the union's not doing anything. Me and Shelby, other directors, we have a committee. We've asked people to join the committee to help us fight for staffing. We asked that forms get to be filled out. People are not filling out the forms like they should be. People are not telling us in real time when things are happening, so we can't address things in real time. We find out months later if something's going on. We need the communication from the members with us to let us know what's going on, not just also in the forms. There's some things going on with floating issues. There's a ton of issues with staffing, and we don't find out about them until months and months later, and unfortunately, we can't do anything at that point about that. But as far as the fines and stuff, we have no control over that. So we are proposing language in the contract that holds Catholic Health responsible, that if a grievance is filed and it goes to arbitration, that the arbitrator would be able to make those decisions for monetary fines to Catholic Health. So that's something we are looking at doing, and that is one of the things that, you know, we are fighting for amongst other things. So I don't want anybody to think that we're not fighting them. That isn't our place currently to be able to do that.
So why aren't you asking to see the schedules on the floors? What was it, last Sunday or the Sunday before, there was one RN scheduled. One RN, he's a weekend only. They had to send 3 floats. 3 floats. So we have these new schedulers, but they'll put 7 people on one day and then 1? Like, come on, then ask for the schedules.
It's not just a
Then you have to reach out to me and Shelby. We put things on Facebook constantly with our contact information. We round once a month before our meeting. We have more
right
than 15
now,
floors
but I understand
to
that,
take
but we
care
are
of. I
trying to
can't
get
set
people to have
schedules.
a strike vote. So we should have been having a picket. We should be doing stuff to get these new people to see that we're strong and to get the word out. To do a strike vote next week, how are you expecting us to go on strike? It's almost like you don't want us to go on strike. We need
Our
to get these
mobilizers
people
have been
on the.
rounding every week. So
We
I
need
don't
it
know if
more
people
than
are
once
seeing
a
the
week,
mobilizer.
Jen. We need it
Well, they're
more.
only time clear for once a week. So that's all we can do right now. If you need me to come out to the floors to talk to people, Maureen will come out and talk to the people on the floors. We can do that. But the mobilizers only come out on the floor once a week because they are working as well. So.
Well, I
if you
understand,
need
but if you
people
want
to
a
vote,
strike
let us
vote,
know.
Look,
if you want a
Hey,
strike vote,
guys.
we need more people.
one person
Okay, hi.
at a time.
Hey, guys.
Two people.
Hey, guys. Hey, it's Maureen. If I could just real quick for a minute, just remember, this is all of us. We need you as much as you
Yeah.
need us. Actually, we need you more. We need you out there promoting this. We need you out there talking to your coworkers. Maybe the more senior people can answer some of those questions that have been through it, or maybe you could come, somebody come to us with all the questions. But and I'm not saying I won't, I will come to any floor like Jen said, and so will Jen. But you have to remember, we are in a room 5 days a week, 8, 10 hours a day, and now we're gonna be going longer hours, 14, 16 hours, to fight for you, to fight for all of us. We really need each and every one of you to be proactive and spread that word, and you be the voice as well. We need everybody to partake and be a part of this. Email us, text us, stop in, ask us any question you want. Be the spokesperson for your group, but please, everybody, we're in this together. It's not one against the other. We're in this together. It's all of us. We need to work as a team if we are going to defeat Catholic Health. And let me tell you, we are not soft. We are tough. We are hard. You got some people in this room that are representing 2,800 members that are serious about the job we were elected to do. You have to remember what we negotiate affects us and our families as well. And we are fighting tooth and nail. And we hear you, like the seniors, those who have their hearts invested in this place, have been here over 20 years. We are standing strong on that 24 step. But for us to stand strong and to really push it, we have to have the support and the backing of each and every one of you. For us to protect your health care, we need you. For us to protect your PTO or ESL, we need you. You are who we need. We need every one of you to step up, make your voices heard, and be seen. Thanks.
Hi, this is
Hi,
Cheryl.
it's Jamie Banks.
This is,
I just want to
I'm
say
sorry.
something really quick. It's okay. I'm sorry. I just want to say something really quick. I know there's a question about ticketing and stuff like that. You can't have a picket unless you are absolutely 100% sure people are going to show up. So it's easy to say, why aren't mobilizers here and things like that? You have to remember, everybody that's down at the Union Hall is also working at the hospital. The Union Hall is not our full-time job. So yes, we need volunteers. Yes, we need other people to step up. There is a select group of people, but they can't do it all. So to have a picket and to hope maybe 30 people come out, we had a press conference today. We had 1122 there, we had 1168 there. It boosted our numbers. We didn't have all kinds of people from our hospital. Those people aren't fighting for our contract. It's not their contract. They're showing us support, but this is our contract. And guess what? People weren't outside. So to say we should have a picket, all you're doing then is showing Catholic Health, you got like 40 people, but guess what? The 2,000 people that work in the building aren't supporting the bargainers. That's not a good move. It's really easy in theory to think this stuff and understand also people going around. Myself and Shelby walked around to almost every single department today. The only ones we missed, I missed the radiology clerks and I missed the 4th floor, but they were also at our staffing meeting. So I'm sorry to labor delivery, mother, baby, and NICU that we missed giving you updates. We gave stuff to charge nurses. We gave the latest update. We said people are saying they haven't gotten updates, the emails. It's on Facebook. Everything is there. If you have questions, call the hall. People are there 8 to 4. We're there for you. We are all in this together, like Maureen said. But you got to show up also when there's things going on. Because guess what? Catholic Health is watching. Guess what happened? Catholic Health, rumor has it, called the police because they said we were outside today. They are watching 100%. So we got to show strong numbers. That's all.
Hi, this is Cheryl. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So I was going to say something else, but after hearing all this talk, I had to kind of stand up and speak up for the people at the bargaining table and the people that work at the Union Hall. I sat on the last bargaining committee, so I know the hard work going in behind it and how much time is being dedicated by
by our bargaining team right now, because I've been there, done that. With that being said, I also am, and Jen Williams can attest to this, I am constantly texting Jen. She probably gets sick of hearing from me, probably 3 or 4 times a week with issues that arise in my unit, questions my coworkers have for me. In fact, today I messaged Jen when a member reached out to me because they know I'm very active in my union. They come to me because I'm the person in their unit they know that I can trust and that I can get the answer for. So everyone, wherever you work, be that voice that somebody can come to and say, hey, I'm a little nervous about this with this strike. What do I do? You know what you tell them? Call 828-1133. Somebody there can answer your question, or leave a message for somebody on the bargaining committee. Like Maureen said, and like Jamie said, and like Jen said, it's not just them at the bargaining table. It's every single person in that hospital. Now, I've tried to answer as many questions as I can to anybody I see in the hospital that come to me and approach me about being afraid to strike. We're all afraid to strike again. But when a few of you have said, why are we always soft? Well, a strike vote is telling them we're not messing around. We did it once, we'll do it again. And just because if we vote for a strike vote on Monday, it doesn't mean 10 days from Monday we're going to go on strike. We'll go back to the bargaining table. We'll see if we progress. And maybe a week from then, if they see no progression at all, then they might say, all right, we're going to give a 10-day notice. So it's not going to happen 10 days after the strike vote if we all vote yes. But people need to show up, and all of us have to be that tree of information to all of our coworkers. And as far as information going out, I think the union and the bargaining team is doing a phenomenal job getting info out, because to be honest, I almost forgot about tonight's call because I've got a lot going on. But I was sitting down, getting ready to relax and watch TV, and I got the text alert. Don't forget to call tonight. So literally, I think the information is getting out. Every member's got the same access to information that I do and that you do. So people just have to take the time, the 5-10 minutes for a call. And again, the phone number for the union, 828-1133. Reach out if you've got questions or concerns, but we are not going to win this if we just let the bargaining committee handle it. It's not going to work that way. That's all I have to say. Thanks, you guys.
I have a question.
You know what?
Any other
Oh, I'm sorry.
questions?
Okay, so I'm a nurse at Mercy, and just scrolling through like jobs and stuff, Roswell starts their new grads off around $43, not including Buffalo General, their whatever they just did. But Buffalo General is going live with Epic next year. So I came to Catholic Health because I had my clinicals there, and Epic was user friendly, and I love the environment. But now going forward, it just seems like a lot of people said before, like, not that they were going soft, I'm not saying that you are going soft, it just appears that way, that we just keep giving them chances and chances, but you know, Sarah and whoever is not giving us chances in HR every chance they get, or changing our scheduling days or whatever. But I say that to say, do they even know that these are other avenues for us, that we could go elsewhere, use the same charting system, get better money, get better vacation time, get better benefits, and still not have to deal with a company that is pretty much saying F us? Like, they put out a whole commercial earlier saying that they put out a fair thing for their employees. And it's really like a slap in the face to the new people that come in, the older people that, you know, like our seniors that's been there teaching us the game. It's really a slap you to them, because honestly, if I was at Catholic Health 24 years, I wouldn't want to go anywhere. But if I'm there for 5 years or 10 years, I might want to, because it's different opportunities out there for me. More or less, like, we all know that, like, whichever hospital at Catholic Health committed Medicare fraud, like, it was all over the news. So is that another reason why they're not trying to pay us? Is that because they just truly don't have the money? And if that's just the case, just upfront and say that, but give us better benefits for something else. A lot of people that have families may be more prop to, you know, I may take not that much pay, but if we could get a better ESL, or they're not taking away our PTO, if they're not doing X, Y, and Z, you know, it's to keep it like a family organization, like family-wise, instead of, you know, who wants to work at Buffalo General because it's deep in their fruit belt. But if we come to Catholic Health, you know, they're good with labor and delivery. I had my baby at Catholic Health. It was a great environment for me, and I would tell people that. But I know nurses that's graduating. When I tell them, should we go to Catholic Health? I mean, why? You could go somewhere and get more pay, more money, better PTO. ECMC offers vacation time or all that. It's pretty much like, well, we want you here either like if you're sick, then use your time, and then use your time, or no vacation, pick and choose. But we want you here all the time. We're going to change your schedules. It's like we can get in knocked down, and then you want us to stand up, and like that's what the union's for. We have no problem backing you up, but it just seems like every time we're on a call, it's just excuses.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns that you want to raise on the?
Can I just make one more comment?
Yeah.
I just think that the bottom line, after listening to everybody and all the new people at the hospital, I think what they want to know is where they're going to get their money from before they vote if they want to go on strike. Like, nobody's explained anything to them about how unemployment works, you know, what the union's going to give them to compensate them if they vote yes and we do go on strike. I think that's what a lot of people's fears are, is they want to know how they're going to pay their bills. And I don't think anybody's kind of educated them as far as that's concerned. I mean, I know you'll talk to them down the road, but I think it's helpful that they know that before they vote. That's just my own comment. Thank you.
Yeah.
So CWA has a very extensive member relief fund that's used to support people while they're on strike. Once you are on strike for 15 days, you get $400 a week. And once you've been on strike for 29 days, you get $500 a week. In addition, and that's increased since the last 2021 when we were on strike. The other thing that has changed is that people are now eligible for their unemployment insurance after 7 days on strike. And so there is almost with a week waiting period, immediate channels for collecting money while you're on strike. We did have difficulties the last time getting their strike benefits started, but we worked very hard to deal with a lot of those issues. And it was the first time the new strike unemployment law was utilized in New York State. And so there were a lot of little snafus that had to be worked out. But over the past 4 years, there have been strikes and people have been able to collect their benefits in a timely fashion. And then we have the money from the members' relief fund. There are a number of other things that we did in preparation for the strike, and that included establishing, not establishing, but kind of reconfiguring our community services committee. We had donations from other unions that they could hand out to people that were in trouble. We got food cards. We had a food pantry. When we are on strike, we make sure that nobody is in a position where they lose a house, a car, an apartment. We do everything we can to help financially sustain people who are on strike and honoring the picket line. So anybody that was on strike before knows that you are not left out there on your own, that there is constant information and support available to any striking member. And it doesn't matter what time of the day or night that is. The local union and the national worked very hard in 2021 to help sustain a 40-day strike. And if, I'm not saying we are going on strike, but if we get to a point where we decide we have to give a 10-day notice and call for a strike, we will make sure that everybody has all the information that they need so that there's a thorough understanding of how things will work. The only requirement for the strike fund is that people picket. And the most important thing while we're on strike really is to keep those picket lines strong and to keep a presence outside the hospital, especially for when the hospital was bringing in strike replacements. But, you know, there is a lot that we will talk to people about if we move further down that road. Are there any?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns, anything anybody talk about?
I have one thing,
Yes.
and I've brought it up in a past conference as well, because I mean, to me, it's still the most important thing. And I'm sorry, but it's also something that, you know, the hospital very much lacks on, except for this one. In the conference call on Tuesday, one of them that it was reiterated multiple times that we felt like as members, we were not receiving information about what was happening at the bargaining table. Then we finally get a side-by-side, which is like the first time in 3 weeks that we had something, but it's still not much information other than, hey, this is what they're offering, or this is what they want, this is what we want, not what's done. Then 2 days later, I get an email from Catholic Health, and it's a detailed update. And nothing from CWA.
The update.
And again, it's just my biggest personal problem, and I hear from other people as well, is just the lack of communication. And also, I know you say you want to, that if a strike vote passes, and then we're going to give out information. No, that, as it's been said before, that information needs to come out ahead of time. It is extremely important. People know. I understand it may not actually go into a strike. We've done this two contracts ago, where we did a strike vote and we didn't strike. However, having now been through a strike, that is vital information, because it's also not a matter of just show up to picket. You have a time slot that you have to show up, and if you don't get paid. If you get sick and you don't show up, you don't get paid. Like, there's a lot that goes into it that people do have to be informed of before they say yes or no. And these are major concerns.
What specifically do you want to know that you think we're not telling you?
Numbers. Hey, guys, this is what we've been offered. You know, we're making progress. We asked for this. They offered this. We're making progress. So even something like that would be very helpful.
Well, as far as
Well,
the specific numbers for the actual wage scales, we haven't put that information out because last contract that information was put out and people took it the wrong way. People were expecting that's what we were going to get. Like, things happened last contract when that information did get put out that did not turn out for the good. So we are not going to give numbers right now as far as that, because we don't have a final decision on what those numbers are going to be. Are the numbers for nursing closer to what is competitive? Yes. Are they where they need to be for longevity? No. Do we have the 24-year step? No. STC is not anywhere near where it needs to be competitive. So Catholic Health keeps saying, oh, well, we're giving the nurses this, we're giving the nurses that. This contract isn't just about nursing. It's about every other department, every other job modality in that hospital. So yes, nursing may be in the right direction, but nobody else is. So the numbers
I guess what I'm saying is, I would love to
say.
see that reciprocal of, hey guys, we saw Catholic Health put this out. We want you to know this is what is still this. I guess this is what we're still waiting on, because we know that they can give more. I guess I'm just saying, I'm seeing things from Catholic Health and I'm not getting enough from CWA still. I
Can
mean,
I
I
make a
felt last
comment?
time it was information overload, and now I feel like I'm not getting enough.
I will check
Well,
my
you have to
email
remember
to see
too-
the last update Catholic Health gave, but I'm not on my email to see those because I don't have time for that. If we will look at that. to
I mean,
what
I see it
Catholic
when I'm
Health
at
put out
work.
last.
You got to remember
I'm
too,
bargaining
Catholic Health.
5 days a week,
Oh,
so I'm
am
not
I on?
on my emails.
Can I make a
Hello?
comment?
Yeah.
But we can
You-
look at that.
Could I just say too?
Go ahead.
You have to remember also when Catholic Health puts out an update, it's something that they're putting out purposefully to divide. That's what they're doing. They're hurry up. Oh, here, we just came back today. We're going to throw this out there and say that we're giving this. And, you know, it's clearly and utterly to divide all the time. That's what they do. And they know as soon as we announce a strike vote, that's what they started doing. They've been on the news every day. It's a tactic that they use during
And it works.
negotiations. And,
I mean,
well,
they
and
were
that-
using a tactic
that's the
of a
thing is
strike
because
vote as
now
well,
you have
and that's
everybody.
that's us.
Look, we
That's
really
us completely on the
don't
line too.
want to get on the call to, you know, argue or have disagreements with people. We're trying to give as much information as we can. We
All right,
did
we'll
this,
call it that.
we have been for weeks and weeks and weeks put out weekly updates. I think the last number that we put out was either 18 or 19. We did the side by side that everyone asked for. We told people on the call this morning that by Thursday we will have the side by side updated. So it will be back out before there is a strike vote. We will make sure that nobody that comes in to vote will have a question left unanswered or information not provided before they have to cast their vote. And that's where we are. We've been doing these weekly phone calls. The information is going out in a number of different avenues. And this morning, we actually had people thanking us for the amount of information that went out and clarifying a lot of the questions that people had. So I think there's a little bit of both out there, but this isn't what we intended the call to be. We were really just hoping to share information on where we are and what's going on in bargaining and our next steps in terms of mobilization. Does anybody have any other questions?
Yes, going forward, so say we get to September 8th and it's the strike vote, but members of the bargaining feel like we're in a better position and it comes to a contract vote. How does that work? Like, obviously there's people, frustrations are high. So say we get the numbers for the strike vote, we obviously have that in our back pocket. But now say you guys come to an agreement at the table and you think that this is okay to bring back to the members to vote on. What happens if we vote no? What happens if we vote yes? What's the process after that? Because I've been here for 4 contracts now, and when we were separate from STC, even though now we're the same language, there was a year where like one voted yes, the other one voted no, then like we were like separated. So what happens going forward? So we have the strike vote, yes or no on the strike vote, we have that in our back pocket, but then what happens once we do tentatively come to an agreement, and what happens with voting from there and bringing it back to the members?
So when we are bargaining, we will work to reach an agreement that we call a tentative agreement that we can bring back to the members and recommend. In CWA, if you vote no on the contract, and again, this would be for Mercy folks, you are voting yes again for a strike. So a no vote on the contract is a yes vote for a strike. every bargaining unit will have the opportunity to vote on the contract, not just the folks at Mercy. Every bargaining unit, every member will have the opportunity to vote. Hopefully, if we're bringing back something to you that we believe is the best contract we can negotiate, and ask you to vote for it, the contract will get ratified. So that's the way it will work. Because we did a strike vote doesn't mean that we're going to stop bargaining, because we're not. We're going to continue to bargain on this contract until we feel we have an agreement that we can bring back to you for ratification.
So I guess I understand what you're saying. So I guess from a voting standpoint, so I guess it kind of goes back to numbers too. So we know what you're bargaining for. The side by side was actually very helpful. But say you guys come to an agreement and I don't know, let's throw a random number out there. So the 9/4 or 9/3 that Clyde is getting, and we're now at 7.5, or those are the last numbers that I saw over 4. Say you guys go to the bargaining table and you come back with like 8.5. Like, is there a number that you're shooting for that you're comfortable bringing back to us? Like, how do we know, like, when you guys feel confident enough to say this is a contract that we're going to bring back to the members? Like, are there specific numbers that you're shooting for? Because obviously going into bargaining, everyone shoots high, hoping that we get somewhere in the middle. Are you guys shooting for specific numbers or for specific goals on each article that's still out? You said there's like 75 articles. Are there certain things that you're looking for that you would feel comfortable then bringing back to say, hey, this is what we recommend? Are you waiting for them to get to that point, or when do you guys call it saying this is a contract we're comfortable bringing back to the members?
So that's a really good question. And you know, our goal has been, and I think we've put out the list early on in bargaining, the list of priorities that we pulled from the bargaining surveys. And the number one issue is no concessions. The number 2 issue, I believe, is a fair competitive wage increase. There's another issue, which is to improve staffing. There's an issue that people feel like they want to be treated with dignity and respect when they go to work. So we have the bargaining surveys. We know what's a priority for the membership. We've made the proposals. And basically, what we're looking at, what we're hearing on wages and benefits, is that people in Catholic Health want to have wages and benefits that are comparable to healthcare workers in other systems and at other facilities. So we have contract language from other places, numbers from other places that we're looking at, and we're going to bargain until we get to a point where we feel, number one, not only did we get the wages and benefits to a point where they're comparable, but number 2, the increases in the subsequent years will keep them competitive, will keep everyone's wages competitive. And the reason it's tough to say what the subsequent percentage increases in subsequent years will look like is because we have to figure out what the scales are going to look like in the first year, how much it costs us to get those scales where we want them. And once we get those scales established, then we'll have a better idea of the percentage points we need in subsequent years. Kaleida got 3%, 3%, and 4% in the last year. So they're getting 10% over 3 years. So we have an idea of where we need to end up.
Hey, everybody, this is Heather from St. Joe's. I just want to add on to what Debbie was saying. I know you guys are looking at like what our bottom line is and what we want to bring back. I just think it's very important that you guys understand, I'm also on the bargaining table, at the bargaining table, that it's a package. So everything economic is packaged together. So as we have said before, yes, they did give us significant increases on the RN wage scale, but with that is also all of the concessions that they propose to increase all of the copays, and some of them are more than double that go with those wages. So it's overall everything. It's give and take. They might give us more money in wages, but they're trying to take money from us in healthcare. So you have to understand that it's the entire package is going back and forth and things keep moving around and changing. It's not just, we don't settle wages and then move on to PTO. We don't settle PTO and then talk about health insurance. It's all rolled into one big economic package.
So I guess that would then lead me in, that makes more sense. I appreciate it. That was not to my knowledge. I guess my next question would be then, the side by side that you guys put out, those are all concessions. So if they're not willing to back down on that, are we willing to just say they haven't moved, we're going to go? How does that work? Are we willing to say as a union, one of our biggest thing is no concessions, and now we have Kallida's contract to look at because it's out there. I mean, we have, if you work in healthcare, I'm sure you have friends in other places, and not saying the grass is greener somewhere else, but are we willing to go, or are we trying to meet them in the middle of the road? Like if we're saying we don't want concessions, if there's still concessions on, are we as a union willing to come back and say, you know, well, these are the concessions that are still out. We would be okay with this because this is better, or are we willing to say that, you know, there's concessions on the table, we're just going to use our strike vote?
I think to Heather's point, we will look at the whole package. It is not our intent in any way, shape, or form to bring monetary concessions back for people to ratify. And that's why we made no concessions the number one item. So, you know, we are going to continue to work our hardest. And if we get to a point where we've done the strike vote and the concessions stay on the table and there's still no movement, or the movement we need them to make on the economics, then we will hold, you know, in-person meetings, and we will talk very directly to people about going out on strike.
So it's not just monetary concessions, it's concessions overall, because for instance, someone's monetary might not be as important as someone else's PTO or someone else's vacation time, or, you know, ITA is looking at mandated overtime. Like, is it concessions overall, or is it really just the economic package that we're mostly focusing on as far as driving our strike vote?
I think that there are non-economic concessions on the table as well. The non-economic concessions are, I hate to call them concessions, but there's language where they're making proposals where they're telling us they need to see changes, and they're trying to describe to us why they need to see those changes. The committee is pushing back very hard against those type of changes as well. We're having thoughtful discussion about what we might or might not be able to do. And again, I don't know how else to say that everybody in the room, every member of that bargaining committee has the best interest of the members at heart. And where people feel firmly that language will hurt their members, they're arguing, you know, very strenuously against agreeing to anything like that. So it's just kind of where we are right now.
So Debbie, do we have something on the table saying that in the next contract that all Catholic hospitals will go on strike instead of just the people at Mercy?
We
Because
do.
I think that's very, very important.
Yes, we have a proposal on the table right now that anybody in the next set of negotiations, if there is a need to go on strike, it could happen at all the Catholic health facilities where we have members.
Yeah, that's got to be a non-negotiable thing, because at Kaleida, they all walk, right? Millard walks, Buffalo General walks, they all walk there, right?
Yes.
So that's what gives the bargaining committee much more power to bargain. See, when we just have one hospital walking, we lose a lot of bargaining power. So that's got to be non-negotiable in our agreement this time, that we all walk, I think.
It's on the table, and we're taking we haven't spent a lot of time talking about it because we've taken a very hard position in the beginning of negotiations that you know, and at Kaleida, they also nobody had the right to strike in the first master agreement. And then when we went back to bargain a subsequent agreement 5 years later, they did concede that everybody would have the right to strike. And so, you know, we're pushing for that now in this contract as well.
Yeah, I think that is so important, though, that we get that in this contract. That's something I think is worth striking over, in my opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate that input. All right, folks. I don't know if there are any other questions. It's a little bit about 10 after 9, and we've gone past our hour. If there's one or two more questions, we could do it. Otherwise, we'll have hand it back over to Teresa and have her wind up the call.
Hi, this is Shelby. I just have a statement to say. Like, so we are like bouncing back on like what Maureen said earlier. We are all part of the union. We all work for the union. Like, we are all the union. So every week when the same people are on the same like on the phone call and listening to what Deb has to say and everything about the updates, like, you guys can go to the new hires and say, hey, this is what happened on the phone call today. And if they have questions about the strike, because if you guys striked last time, you can be like, okay, this is what happened. We had to work 4-hour increments, and there was everybody helping us, like in the locals, and unemployment sucked getting people paid, but like it will change this time. Like, you guys all need to speak like for a vote strike, or else we're not going to have any power to get a better contract. So like, me and Jamie rounded today, and we like invited people on the Facebook because they had no idea there was a Facebook. We explained what the strike was, like, so everyone who was on the strike last time and the senior nurses and the senior employees need to speak and to the new hires and say this is exactly what happened. Because there's only so many people that are mobilizing, but like, we all went through it, so you guys can all say, hey, this is like what my experience was. Do you know what I mean? And then
Yes.
make sure you guys keep doing the short staffing forms, please. And then if you guys have any issues, like Jen said, you guys need to contact us in real time, because we went to the meeting today and I come up with these issues like, hey, this is what I heard last month. And they're like, well, we need a time and date and you need to contact us in real time. Today we found out like someone called the hall about their ratio being like 1-13 and 1-14 on AIDS, and that there was no Everbridge. So then I texted Jess Visser and Michelle Wild and said, hey, you need to send an Everbridge out because these ratios are literally so unsafe. And then like maybe like 10 minutes later sent out an Everbridge. I mean, probably it wasn't helpful, but like, they made an attempt, you know? So I need you guys to do these short staffing forms to prove that we're having like staffing issues, because they don't think that we do. They said that we are fully staffed, and that's why they're opening up 2 more units. And we all know that's a lie. Okay, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelby.
I just want to jump in for a very quick comment. This is Shannon. I work the respiratory department at Mercy on days. I think sometimes, like some of us senior people, take for granted that we're probably outnumbered by the newer people who didn't ever experience a strike because we had so many new hires that really weren't there for the last one. I have been at Mercy for 21 years. I started as an aide. I was a unit secretary. I'm a respiratory therapist. I worked at Kenmore at a time where their respiratory therapists weren't union. And then while they were organizing and becoming part of CWA, I am at the hospital on Thursday and Friday from 6 in the morning till 6 at night. I will be working in CV ICU both of those days. If anybody is truly concerned about what happens during the strike and how you get paid, please come down and talk to me um, while I'm there. And I know that's not a lot of time before our vote on Monday, but if any of you have a pen and paper and you want to jot it down, take my phone number. You can text me, you can call me. I'm a little bit of an old lady now that I work day shift. I am in bed usually by like 10 at the latest, but I will get back to you the next day. My number is 361-9422. Between now and the strike vote on Monday, if there's anybody that is not thinking about showing up to the strike vote because you're so unsure of what's going to happen, it's making you feel like you don't even want to vote, please call me, please text me, please come visit me on Thursday or Friday while I'm at the hospital.
Can you repeat your number again?
It is 716-361-9422.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Teresa, you want to wrap up?
Yep. Thank you, everyone. So again, we will continue these calls until we have a tentative agreement every Tuesday, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. The entire bargaining team will also be at the strike vote with flyers. They'll be there to answer any questions folks have. Be on the lookout tomorrow for the email about transportation if you will need transportation the day of the strike vote. And as always, if you have any questions, please contact your union hall for Mercy and Kenmore. That is CWA 1133. And for St. Joe's, it is CWA 1168. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night.